My Little Devil, this is a band who I've heard quite a bit about because they're often appearing on a lot of the festival schedules that I see here in Tokyo when I go to see like little multi-live house venue festivals that you get here in Japan, where you get a little wristband and you can go between different venues for the day. This is a band who are often coming up on that list, and yet I'll be honest with you, still haven't heard their music yet. Now, from the name My Little Devil, I'm expecting we're going to get something maybe a little bit on the heavy metal side. That's my guess, but beyond that, I have no idea at all. By the way, love the hair colours. I don't know why this. I don't know if this comes from anime, but there's something really cool about bands where every single member has a different hair colour. Is that just something I'm realising now? Kind of got that from like Bocce the Rock and. Yeah, it's a thing, isn't it? Anyway, I'm just really interested in checking this out. I have nothing to go on except for the fact that the name sounds kind of dark. They appear on a lot of festivals where there's usually a lot of heavy rock music, and they look interesting. So the other thing as well, I'm going to point out, I'm checking this more and more. When I find new bands like this, I look at them. They've only got 2.22 thousand subscribers. And I'll tell you what, any band who's got less subscribers than this ramshackle little channel deserves your support. So please, if you like what we're about to listen to, go subscribe and support them. I've subscribed to them and I haven't even heard the song yet. So let's do this. The song is called Answer. It came out just over a week ago. Hoping to enjoy it. 4 minutes long. Okay, we're starting dramatic. There's weird cyberpunk vibe going on at the moment. Oh, that's pretty cool! Oh, I'm loving the way she's switching up the rhythm in her voice. Bingo! Nice switch up there. And the singer has got the drama going on brilliantly, hasn't she? I think it's interesting how the guitar as well is switching between these sort of riff bits and then these long held notes and then a much more chord focus in the chorus. You get very clear chord steps. And that sort of string and piano thing in the background as well is really sticking out the arrangement a lot. Great melody, great, yeah. It's very effective, like just the drama in this. And the singer is gonna be, she's gonna win an Oscar for this video. Oh, that was nice the way they sort of had the string sound like. The backing vocals and the strings are so important to this song. And I recognise that rooftop. That's been used in other videos, right? Or is it just that every band needs a rooftop video? I'm actually, hand on my heart, I am far more impressed with this than I was expecting to be. Look, we're always honest on this channel, and there was a little bit of a feeling when I went into this. I was like, because there's been a couple of bands. I don't, if I really don't like something when I listen to it, I usually don't post the video because I'm always honest on this channel. And there's been a couple of bands who've been in this kind of scene recently who I think a lot of people got into, and I just didn't, and so I haven't really covered them. And I was a bit worried listening to My Little Devil. Is it going to be that kind of thing? This actually is really interesting on a lot of levels. Now, if you've heard some of the things that I've said that I find really promising about Japanese music in the past, then let me just dive into why this one actually kind of subverted my expectations. So on the basic chord, this is like a heavy, some might call it heavy rock, some might call it metal. I think some people will think of it as metal. But it's that kind of heavy guitar-driven sort of music where it's big and it's dramatic. And it's very much sort of like starts off with the riff at the beginning. I love the way the riff comes in. It's really well recorded, you know, really well rounded, proper headbanging vibe. And then the vocalist, she's great. She's got a brilliant voice, but I love the way that she bounces between those sort of like, she's got a really good ability to sort of chop over the rhythm. You know, in the verses, there was some great bits where she was doing some slightly irregular offbeat rhythms, and she was doing them really well, managing them great, and then delivering that brilliant power in the chorus to give quite a catchy chorus, actually. She did that superbly, and then on top of that, her like on-screen performance was just brilliant. She's fantastic in front of the camera. So I don't know if she's got any experience doing any sort of like in front of camera work before. Actress, model, who knows? She's clearly very comfortable in front of a camera, and she conveyed that brilliantly. I thought her performance, hands down, I'm really impressed by that. But then when it came to what we were getting from the guitar and the bass, now this was an interesting one because a lot of you guys might have heard me complain before about, well, not complain, but one of the things that generally I'm not such a big fan of is how sometimes in metal bands, the guitar and the bass stick a little bit too much together. They kind of, I want the guitar and the bass to be doing very different things, but I appreciate in metal, they tend to stick a bit closer. Now, what was really interesting is about how the song was arranged, and I'd be really interested to know who did the arrangement, whether the guitar and the bassist were involved in that. In fact, I'm not actually sure if there's any credits, nothing seemingly at the end. I will have a little look and see if there's more information on here, actually. Nothing is immediately jumping out at me. The reason I ask is because what was interesting, so the song starts off with the riff, and when you get the riff bit, that's kind of the bit where I most understand guitar and bass stick together because you create that sort of solid, fast-moving set of notes, and it's this one thick, fast-moving, changing sort of note pattern that makes a riff powerful. That I get. But then when we get into like the pre-chorus and the chorus, the guitar and the bass are basically still sticking together, which is something that I usually am not a big fan of. But the reason it works so well in this song, or at least works, is because of the fact that there is a lot of layers of other things happening over the top. Now, this would be something there where I would often reference maybe Wagaki bands, certainly Unlucky Morpheus, who kind of do this as well, which is where the guitar and the bass can more stick together because there's so much else doing those counter melodies, providing the thickness in other places. Here, there's the really interesting string lines, and I really want to draw attention to that because although they were quite quiet, the fact that the strings were doing very different things, and where the guitars were often either holding note or going up, the strings were sort of like coming down and doing little things like this, and it was providing this interesting counter that added a thickness along with a really good vocal melody. I gotta admit, it's really good vocal melody. It meant that the guitar and the bass sticking together was kind of okay because they were just kind of like producing, if you like, the bass chord pattern. And then all of the color was coming from the vocals and these extra sounds that were put around it. So that kind of worked for me really well because there was that extra thing, meaning that you didn't kind of get that thinness that sometimes you get from some bands who it's just guitar and bass playing the same thing. And then on top of that, when they started adding the backing vocals in the chorus as well, I was like, yes, we're starting to get this real thick harmonic quality that you want from really any type of music. There's, you know, even the most powerful types of music, you want those extra layers of thickness, nuance, and harmony. And this song had that. So I felt like the bassist and the guitarist were very much working together to produce a thick underlying layer to make room for this extra sound that was put on top. And this is another thing I have to give massive credit for, because I know a lot of people don't like that when bands use extra sounds, like, oh, they've put in keyboard strings, they've put in this, that, and you know, some people, oh, that's not the way you should do it. No, for me, that is actually the sign of a genuinely good band, when you're writing a song and in your head you can think of extra sounds where you go, this would really work. And just because none of your musicians plays a fucking violin, you don't go, oh, well, I guess we can't do that then. You go, no, that's the way I want the song to sound, and you put those sounds in. And that's what I really like, is that there was a proper sonic planning to this. It felt like this song was designed to be something more, that they weren't just limited by their own instruments, which they admittedly play very well. They were not allowing themselves to be limited by that. They were writing something that was bigger than just that. And to me, that genuinely shows that you put creativity first. That it's not just about how good a musician you are, great musicians as they appear to be, and fantastic performers as they certainly appear to be. On top of that, they really put songwriting first here. Would I have liked to hear a little bit more variation between the guitar and bass? You know me, it's one of my pet loves. Of course, I would love to hear more of that, but I didn't feel like that was something that in any way scuppered this song. And I felt like what we actually got here was a song that was all about having a thick core, but then surrounding it with these really interesting colors, from the strings to the backing vocals to the lead vocal melody, which again was superbly written, very catchy, which again drew your ears to the front of the music. I really enjoyed this. Do I think there's potential for growth? Yes, I definitely think that this group are going to find more and more interesting things to do with their sound. This definitely sounds like a band who are kind of at the beginning of their journey, but this is a very promising start. I'm genuinely actually quite surprised how much I like this, especially considering the style, considering the genre, considering certain tropes it maybe had that I'm not usually a fan of. I think this carried them off brilliantly. Not for me. This carried them off brilliantly, and it just ended up being a really, really awesome song. So, yeah, I enjoyed this. Great opening volley from a band who's only got 2,000 subscribers. Go give them more. They deserve to have a hell of a lot more subscribers than this channel. Show them some support. If you like this video, I'll definitely be checking out more. Thank you so much for watching this video, and until I hopefully see you in the comments or wherever, for now, ciao, ciao.